Be bold. Be brave. Be extraordinary. Be vulnerable. Be real. Be curious. Be true. Be you. Welcome to Trusting Your Gut with world-class energy intuitive Catherine McIntosh, a show designed to awaken you to enjoy the process of evolving, have fun along the way, and learn to listen to those silent in-between moments. You are the expert of your own life, and nobody knows more about the next steps to take in your journey than you. So please, listen to your gut and discover what's waiting for you to explore. Here is your host, Catherine McIntosh.
Hello, my magical friends. So welcome to today's episode. Today, we're going to be talking about something that, for the last 12 years has basically been the tagline of my business, but I never really talk about it. And I want to talk about it now because, we are ending the year. Cannot believe that we are in December of 2024, going into a new year. And I would say, working as an intuitive, working as a consultant, working with people from all walks of life in all different phases. I help people, just really get over the obstacles and focus on what works. And lately, we've been talking about with my clients and just with my friends and people in general, like it has been an intense 8 to 12 weeks for a lot of people. It's probably been an intense year for many people. And, we never know why we're on the journey we're on. We never know why certain things happen or don't happen or work out or don't work out. But if we begin to trust, right, it really always works out for us. So today I want to talk about this tagline that's been my tagline for 12 years, which is creating the body business or business body and life you love. And this isn't like airy-fairy, woohoo, everything's great when it's actually not. But this is to serve as a reminder that life is always happening for you. Life is always happening for you. So when things don't go your way, when something doesn't manifest, when you're going through a breakup or a divorce or a lawsuit, it's not against you. It's actually for you. And look, easier said than done. I've gone through 2 divorces. I've had a lawsuit, and it's never easy. Right? And challenges in life are never easy. We want everything to be light and fun and all this stuff. But here's the deal is when things arise, whether they're obstacles or challenges or life transitions that feel hard, it's because there's something greater on the other side. And so the way to navigate that is to shift your perspective, right? Because if your perspective is, it's going to work out bad, this is awful, how am I going to survive, right? Our fear instincts kick in. And when our fear instincts kick in, we go into survival mode. And it's hard to be creative and imaginative when we are in survival mode. And so how do we get out of that? How do we actually realize that we have the power to literally create anything we want? And it stems from really knowing, sorry, my hair is in my eyes and my mirror is off. It stems from knowing that everything is working out for you, that you are an incredibly talented, bright, imaginative, creative being. And the universe doesn't want to destroy you, right? It wants to invite you to become your best self. And we all go through life's journey and we make choices. And sometimes those choices are the exact choice we needed to make in that moment to get us to the next step, right? Sometimes, like for me, when I married my first husband, I knew walking down the aisle I shouldn't. I ignored that. And it set me up for some serious life challenges, but it also got me to be where I am today. And I wouldn't change it. I don't regret it, right? I wouldn't be in the business I am. I wouldn't be in the career I am. I wouldn't be who I am doing what I do. I probably wouldn't have my son if I didn't go through that choice and that journey. And so life is always inviting us to become our best selves. We weren't meant to live a mediocre life. We weren't meant just to get by. We were meant to thrive and be creative and be imaginative and allow the greater version of everything to come to fruition. And sometimes that means that you have to go through kind of the eye of the needle or the eye of the storm. And so, I have a lot of people that come to me when all of a sudden they get into a relationship, they find the love of their life, they start a new business, and everything feels hard. And one of the healers that I work with, he was like, "Yeah, Catherine, it's because things are so good and they're about to be so good that there are challenges, there are distractions, right? There are roadblocks because it's testing you to see, are you going to are you going to be patient enough to see through it to the other side?" And so may this be a reminder to all of you. If life isn't going your way, if you are going through a challenging time, this challenging time, right? Light can't exist without darkness. This challenging time is actually designed to invite you to your light, to your greatest version of yourself, not your mediocre version. And darkness challenges us all. None of us are immune to life's obstacles, to life's challenges, because it's inviting us to look at, do we want to become the greatest version of who we are now? And the greatest version of who you are today is bigger and greater than the greatest version of who you were last year. And so the challenges sometimes get bigger or greater. That is not to derail you off your path necessarily, or to, invite you to go, "Oh my gosh, this isn't working." It's actually designed to get you to look within and go, are you choosing to be your best self in this challenge? Are you letting this challenge open the door to what's next? And so each of us has the chance to shift our perspective on everything that's occurring in our lives. And so if your perspective has been telling a story from the past, if your perspective has been, luck never comes your way, if your perspective is you never get what you want, if your perspective is you're always living in lack, it's always a struggle, right? Then you will get more of that because you're not being in that moment the shift in perspective that invites you to see that everything occurring in your life is designed for you, is designed to get you to be your best self. And so, how do you do that? The first thing is to shift your perspective, right? So I talk about this a lot. I've shared this in many episodes. I have a journaling practice. In fact, my journal's right in front of me. I was journaling this morning. I didn't finish it, but I started it, and I asked myself 5 questions. Now, I can't take credit for all 5 of these questions, but I have been doing these questions for the past year, and versions of these questions for probably the last 12 years. And, the first thing I do is I do a little appreciation. So whether it's for my business, for my son, if I'm in a relationship, for the person that I'm in a relationship with, a little appreciation about what is working in my life, about something small that happened that made me smile, right? And then I go into 5 questions. The first one is, what am I grateful for? And the quickest way to shift your perspective from feeling like you are a victim, because the truth is, none of us are victims. We create scenarios and circumstances in our life, right? Now, I'm not saying that we create car wrecks or create dis-ease. What I am saying, if that is something that you're challenged with in the moment, it's because it's wanting to get you to become your best self. And we can either be a victim, and when we're a victim, we contract our energy, we start to try to um, fix the problem, right? And one of the things I've been inviting most of the people I've been working with lately is, instead of being in fix it mode or problem solving mode, which especially in relationship women like to do, problem solving, fix it mode, it never works, right? Because the only person and the only thing we can change is ourselves. We can't change anybody else, but we can shift our perspective. We can change our viewpoint. We can change our choices, right? We can change our perspective, and we can change, how we go about life. And that's where you become the creator of your own destiny. And so, if you know you can, just like the little engine that could, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. If you can get yourself in that knowing that you can do anything you set your mind to, right? Then you will shift. Now, you can't control other people and you can't control other situations. You can only control you. And when you control you, it changes the energy around you, which can then also change the outcome, right? And we are in the business, right, of changing outcomes, of not forcing other people, but forcing ourselves to change within. And so these 5 questions: what am I grateful for? What are my wins? What do I want to let go of, or what am I letting go of? And here's a clue for all of you control freaks out there. You might want to let go of control, of controlling others, of controlling outcomes, of controlling scenarios. So when I first started one of my businesses, I've built several businesses in the course of my life. And one of the businesses I built, right, I tried to control the outcome. I was very aggressive. I was more in my masculine. I was very like, "Rawr, I can do it. I can do anything." I would, overcome. I would push myself. I'd get exhausted. I'd get sick. And I was successful, but it wasn't long term. In the last 5 years, I actually let go of the masculine forcing, pushing through, driving, and more. Okay, if I spend time getting in alignment with me, what can I create? And so, for those of you out there that are struggling with because we're doing business, body, and life, right? Those of you out there that are struggling with your body, if you keep trying to fix your body, you will spend the rest of your life feeling unsatisfied, right? If you start to find things that you're satisfied with your body, right? Maybe it's the foods that you eat. You love cooking, so you find satisfaction in cooking, right? Maybe you're satisfied because you can get up out of bed or take a walk in the mornings. Maybe you have a dog or a pet or an animal you play with. So you find things in your life that satisfy you, right? When we focus on the topic or subject that isn't working in our lives and we go into fix it mode, we actually create a bigger hole, right? A bigger problem to solve, a bigger, just roadblock. When we let go of focusing on it and we start looking at all the areas of our lives that are working, then life starts to get better. And so, for all of you out there, because the holidays bring up a lot, right? I was teaching a class yesterday, and I said to the class, I said, I had one of the best Thanksgivings I've ever had, right? It was fun, it was full of friends and good food. I didn't overeat, I didn't get depressed, right? It was a really amazing holiday. And I was like, everyone's like, well, why? I said, because I focused on what was working in my life, right? I didn't spend time focusing on the things that weren't. And when the holidays arise, we start to look at, do we feel lonely? Have we been successful? Did we have a good year? Do we have enough money? Like all these things. And it doesn't matter how much money is in your bank account, right? Success is personal. And you can either compare where you're at or you can get really clear on your truth. And everybody has the key ingredient for success. Napoleon Hill believes, right? He's the author of Think and Grow Rich. He believes that the greatest ingredient for success, for abundance, for wealth is imagination. And every single person in the world was born with the gift of imagination, was born with the gift of creativity, of creation. And so not everybody is an artist, right? But everybody is artful in their own way. So whether it's in business, whether it's in relationship, whether it's in the arts, whether it's in communication and relationships, we all have certain areas of our life where we're actually quite successful. So if you would like to sort of shift where you are currently at in your life, your invitation is to look at the thoughts that you are telling yourself, the things that you say. So I've been using the Osho Tarot deck for probably about 20 plus years, maybe even longer, 25 years almost. And one of the things in the Osho Tarot deck, it talks about the mind. And when we look at the mind, a lot of us let our minds control our outcome. We let our minds control our emotions. We let our minds control our feelings. We let our minds control what we think we're capable of. And, we all have the ability to believe in an area of our life. And usually the area of your life you believe in is the area of your life that works the best. We all have areas of our lives where we get contracted, or we worry, or we have fear, or we have anxiety, or we have past traumas, right? And if we keep telling that story, we'll keep challenging ourselves and struggle in that area. And so how do you change it? You got to start to shift your perspective. And in the Osho Tarot deck, it talks about grab a tape recorder and record everything that's going on in your mind. And you'll see that much of what you're thinking or saying to yourself isn't productive. It's not getting you where you want. And so a lot of people, when they talk about creating, they talk about goals, right? But goals are external, right? And I believe the quickest way to shift what you're capable of creating in your life is to actually focus on the internal, right? One of my shamanic teachers, he said, if you're pointing a finger at someone else, blaming them for something, I'll hide my thumb if you can see me on video, pointing a finger at someone else, there's at least 3, if not 4, fingers pointing back at you. And so we are the common denominator of everything that happens in our lives. And if you truly desire to create, then it's up to you to change the story you've been telling yourself. All right, I'll give you an example. Walked down the aisle in my first marriage. I was 25 years old, way too young. I didn't, and here's the deal. I went through with the marriage because I didn't believe that I was capable of being loved. I didn't feel lovable. That was my story. And I clung to that story, despite people saying, oh, you're full of it. Oh, you're so pretty. Oh, I didn't believe it. And so because I didn't believe it, and because I didn't have the tools at the time to change my perspective, I made some very costly life decisions. Now, I don't regret them because I'm where I am today. But I look back, I'm like, wow, can't believe I did that, right? And so if you're the common denominator of everything that happens in your lives, you have to start to pay attention to what you're telling yourself to what you're thinking about, what you think is possible. Because the only reason someone else has what you want is because they believed it was possible for them. And they went on an internal journey, a journey of believing in the possibilities that they wanted to create. And so, how do you start to believe in the possibilities? It isn't about getting rid of your negative thoughts, it isn't about getting rid of fear, getting rid of doubt. It's about recognizing when it shows up, right? One of my favorite tools to use, and I did this, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, was stop it. When I needed to change my story with my body. So, my story with my body, right? I wrote a book called Don't Diet, Be Happy, because for 20 years, I thought I was fat and ugly, right? For 20 years, I thought I had a problem with food. What I realized is I actually had a problem with being aware, and I was aware of other people's doubts or insecurities or fears, and I translated that and put that on me as if it was mine. But here's a clue that the story that you're kind of ruminating on isn't your story, and the reason why you haven't been able to change it is because it's not your story, it's not your truth. We can't change what isn't ours, right? You can't change anybody else. You can only change yourself. You can only change your habits, your decisions, your perspective, right? You can't even always change your triggers, but you can change how you respond to your triggers, right? So if somebody's triggering you and your instinct is to tell them to change their behavior, right? That is not the most efficient way to create change. The most efficient way is to go, oh, I'm triggered. You might not be able to change the trigger, but you can change how you react and respond to the trigger. And so the key is when you notice a thought of, I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough, I'm not successful, everything always happens for everyone else, but not for me, I'm unlucky, I was abandoned, right? I don't have real parents. Like, whatever your story is, what you can do in the moment to shift it is to go stop and then think of a thought that's more productive, right? Think of a thought that creates a sense of satisfaction and appreciation and fulfillment. Thinking of thoughts that contract your energy will never help you create the life you desire. I'm going to say that again. Thinking a thought that contracts your energy and staying ruminating on that thought that contracts your energy, thinking you need to fix that thought, will not create the life you want. What you've got to do is stop the thought and then rewire and retrain your brain, retrain your mind, retrain your words, retrain your thought process to replace it, right? So addicts, right? Addicts rarely are able to change an addiction by trying to get rid of the addiction. Most addicts are successful long term when they replace it with something that they're passionate about that expands their energy. And so every thought that you think, you might not be able to get rid of it, but you can change it to a more expansive thought. You can change it to a more satisfying thought, to a more satisfying feeling, to a more satisfying energy. And so if something isn't working in your life the way you want, stop trying to fix it externally and shift it internally by shifting the conversation and the internal dialogue that you have. You'll never be able to get rid of fear. You'll never be able to get rid of judgment, right? There's 8 billion people on the planet, and fear and judgment and anxiety, it's pretty rampant. So you can't get rid of it, but you can shift it. You can replace it. You can train yourself and retrain yourself to shift a habit, right? So diets don't work because they're short-term goals. But if you have a long-term habit, right, to start to change certain things, it will point you in the right direction. So we're going to take a break, have a little commercial break. When we get back, we'll continue talking about this topic and give you some examples of things that you can do to begin to turn around the things that aren't working in your life. So stay tuned and we'll be back.
Home Times TV.
Do you trust you? Do you trust your body? What if the key to unlocking the weight, pain, suffering, fear, anxiety, addictions, traumas, and sorrows was already inside of you? Learn to love the skin you are in so you can create the body, business, and life you love. Everyone always says you can't explain what Catherine does, you just have to experience it. From Hollywood actors to New York Times best-selling authors to some of the world's wealthiest and most successful, no two experiences are the same. For private sessions, online courses, live events, and the latest book Jack Canfield calls Game Changer and should be required reading for everyone, go to katherinemcintosh.com. KatherineMcintosh.com.
Imagine becoming a super influencer. Reinvent yourself, invest in your brand, and then manifest your success with a robust spheric approach. Om Times Media and Broadcasting offers a unique and multifaceted way to become the spiritual and conscious influencer you deserve to be by putting your message across our powerful platform with its proven record of integrity and excellence. Through our produced shows, Om Times offers the opportunity to become a social media TV personality, a radio show host, an Om Times magazine columnist, and a syndicated podcaster, all in one shot. By live streaming your show on Om Times TV and broadcasting it across the extensive Om Times radio and TV networks, you become more than a host. You become an ambassador and a force for positive change. Om Times. Open yourself to the possibilities.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
All right, my magical friends, so we are back. Welcome to today's show and the topic, creating the body, business, and life you love. And so I'm going to give you some examples of how do you turn your story around when things feel challenging. And, you know, the topics that most people struggle with: health, relationship, and money, right? And so if there's any area of your life where you feel like you're a victim, where life hasn't worked out for you the way you want, you can apply these examples to really any area of your life. But let's dive into some practical real life scenarios and show you how you can today start to shift things around. Now, remember, it's a process, right? It isn't a quick fix, right? It isn't a pill you take, right? Like the Matrix, the red pill, blue pill. The key is to recognize that you are the creator of your own destiny. And if your life isn't working in a certain area, you have the power to change not the external circumstances, but the internal dialogue that you have. So let's dive into some examples. So let's take body. For those of you out there that struggle with your weight, you're struggling with a health condition, maybe you've had chronic fatigue, maybe you've been diagnosed with Lyme's disease, maybe you've been dealing with hyperthyroid or hypothyroid. The story, if you keep telling yourself the same story over and over again, I have a condition, I have a condition, I have a condition, I have a condition, your body is 60 to 76% water, and it will absorb the energy that you put on it, right? And so I always sort of tell people, if you keep telling yourself, I have this, I have this, I have this, I have this, your body is going to do that to prove that you're right. And so, how do you shift that? And look, health challenges, money challenges, relationship challenges, they all are the same. We've been stuck in a belief system that doesn't allow us to be our best selves. That belief system keeps us stuck in fight or flight, keeps us stuck in survival, and we're in survival. We can't think clearly, we're not aligned, our energy is contracted in that area. And so these are little examples and shifts that you can do to start to expand, to start to get you into sort of an energy of feeling satisfied. So when I spent 20 years feeling fat and ugly with my body, the thing that shifted it, I started something called the no judgment diet. And the thing that shifted it was this tool called Stop It. I was no longer allowed to look in the mirror and criticize myself. I was no longer allowed to look in the mirror and judge the size of my thighs or the cellulite on the backs of my legs, right? And at the time I really didn't have any, but I created that I did, right? I was always looking for the problem, and then I went to try to fix the problem. But a foundation built on a problem is kind of like the movie Money Pit, right? I might be aging myself, but back in the day, Tom Hanks was in a movie called Money Pit, bought this beautiful house, and the foundation was crumbling, right? Everything that could go wrong with the house went wrong. And so when we try to fix a problem, we're trying to repair a broken foundation. And you don't want to live or build your dream life on a broken foundation. You want to build your dream life on a possibility, right? And so if you have something with your body, whether it's your weight, whether it's you have an issue with food, whether you don't feel good enough, right? Most people who have problems with their weight or their body, especially when it comes to food or physical appearance, there is this, lack of control. So a lot of people that develop eating disorders, they had traumatic childhoods, and the only way they could control it was either through overeating or undereating, right? Through belittling themselves to try to control their circumstances. And so if you have this thought of I'm fat and ugly, I'm overweight, I have hyperthyroid, I have hypothyroid. Thyroid conditions are usually related to lack of self-esteem. So it isn't about focusing on the food or focusing on the exercise or focusing on the nutrition. It's about focusing on the self-esteem, focusing on believing that as you are right now, you are enough. And so gratitude, appreciation, satisfaction is the quickest way. So I went from 20 years of struggling with my body and my weight and eating disorders and, just a whole bunch of stuff, almost died, right? I went from, okay, I have to stop this story that my body's not good enough, that I'm not good enough. And so I would take my hand and go, stop it, right? I'd stop it. And I'd think of something that I could genuinely be grateful for. So this isn't an I am beautiful if I don't think I'm beautiful. I am enough if I don't think I'm enough. That's not what this is. This is finding things that you can genuinely be grateful for. So I'll give you an example. I used to look at myself in the mirror and be like, oh my God, my thighs. Oh my God, my legs, right? I always used to tell her I have tree trunks. Not so kind. Doesn't create an atmosphere where I like myself, does it? No. Judgment never creates, judgment destroys, right? Fear doesn't really create, fear destroys. Now, you can use fear as a catalyst, you can use judgment as a catalyst, right? Or you can use it to destroy. And so I'd go stop it, and then I would look in the mirror and I'd be like, think of something. And it was so hard at first to go, oh, I like my eyes. Oh, I like my face. Oh, I like my freckles, right? But from the neck down, I could not think of anything to be grateful for. And at some point, because I made myself for a year do this practice where I look in the mirror, instead of berating my body, I would start to find something to be grateful for. Like, oh, those legs scored the game-winning goal my senior year in high school for us to win state and state soccer championships. Ooh, those legs are really good race legs for a downhill skiing, right? Ooh, those legs walked thousands of miles around the world. Ooh, those legs mountain biked all over the world. And so I started to go, oh, I can be grateful that I have strong legs, that my legs are capable, that they've done so much and they've helped me see the world. And then it started to shift it, right? And then I went, oh, I can be grateful for my collarbones. I can be grateful for my shoulders. But I couldn't be grateful if I was just looking at the visual. I had to go deeper into meanings in my life. So how can this apply to money? If you're like, I'm broke, right? After my divorce, I lost a lot of money. I quit my very successful job. I lost all my houses that I owned, and I started over. And then I went to grad school, and I wasn't making much money, right? Because I was working part-time, but anyway. So I remember I used to be like, I can't afford it. I can't afford it. I can't afford it. So guess what? The universe heard I can't afford it. So I would create that I didn't have enough money. And then I started to shift my saying, and I would say, thank you for the invitation, not right now. Or I'd say in my head, thank you for the invitation. I wonder what it would take to be able to say yes, right? Started asking questions. So I started reframing the perspective, and I stopped saying the thing that contracted my energy. So the biggest, most important feature in this is to stop saying things or telling yourself stories that contract your energy, right? I'll give you an example. Recently, I've been like, oh my God, words matter. And they do, right? And I realized that I had a little bit of a limitation because then I required, right? I was trying to control my external circumstances. So my clients had to say certain things. My family members had to say certain things. My son had to say certain things, my partner. And if they didn't talk to me in a way that I liked, I would get pissed, right? And then I went, wait a second, I can't control them. I can't control what they say. But I can control, so what's the story that keeps me reacting to their words? Oh, my story is words matter. So what if my story, and yes, I still believe words matter, and I'm going to focus on myself more than anything else. But what if I said, oh, words can't hurt me. Words can't destroy how I feel about myself, right? And guess what? Started to change the energy. And so what if, right, you start going, okay, I might not be able to buy a house right now, but saying I can't buy a house right now probably isn't going to expand my energy, but saying, oh my gosh, I'm so looking forward to being able to afford the house of my dreams. I'm so looking forward to being able to move. I'm so looking forward to throw a dinner party. I'm so looking forward to fly wherever I want, whenever I want. And so you start to frame it into anticipating an unknown future instead of contracting about an unknown future. And this is a huge distinction for most people, right? A lot of people go, oh, I want to manifest. And I say, it's not about manifesting. It's about, are you internally aligned? Is your heart and your head, right? Is your heart, that excitement, that belief, is it aligned with believing that you can have it? Is it aligned with knowing you're enough, just as you are, exactly where you are? So one of the things besides the stop it that got me to change my body quickly, right? I went from a size 8, 10 to a size 4 in just a couple of months, eating burgers and bacon and ice cream and eggs and chocolate. I didn't diet. I shifted my perspective. And one of the biggest things was going, can I be grateful for where I'm at today? So the question you want to ask yourself is, can you be grateful for where you're at today? Because guess what? Everything in your life is happening for you. It's designed to open you up, right? It's designed to expand your energy so you can expand your belief of what you think you're capable of receiving. The only limitation, right? And the only reason you haven't been able to create is because you believe you can't receive it. And so start anticipating receiving it. Do you want a big house? Do you want to move? Do you want a relationship? What is it that you truly desire? And then start to pay attention to what's that self-talk? And then how do you shift it? You shift it by going, stop it. And you start to authentically appreciate or have gratitude for, right? And then the third step is you anticipate having it, and you anticipate receiving it, and you anticipate believing that it could be possible for you, right? It's a huge thing. And so, my friends, you really, truly are the creator of your own destiny. You are capable of having whatever you want. And if life has been knocking you down, it's not because it's meant to destroy you. It's because it's meant to sort of shift your journey, sort of take you on a new path, get you in alignment with who you actually are. And so surround yourself with people that light you up, right? Expand your energy, dream, use your imagination. As Napoleon Hill says, the greatest asset to success, the greatest ingredient to success is imagination. Really powerful book. If you've never read it, there's the audio version, there's the physical version. It is a great book, and I highly recommend it if you've never read it. And so for all of you out there, life isn't happening to you. You aren't the victim. Yeah, you've had some hard crap that's come your way, that's happened, right? But that doesn't mean you have to spend your life being at the effect of it. It means that, are you willing to change your self-talk? Are you willing to turn yourself around? Are you willing to recognize that you hold the power? You hold the imagination, because no one can get inside your head, right? And imagine for you. You have to do it. Life isn't a quick fix. Success isn't about money in your bank account. Success is, are you happy? Are you living your truth? Are you aligned? Are you waking up every day and giving it your best and paying attention to that which expands your energy? And when you start to shift and change, right, you'll be quite surprised at what shows up for you. So stop focusing on fixing your problems and start to spend your energy on things that expand your world. So that's all I got for you today. You are a magical, brilliant, bright being. You know, it is the holiday season, and I encourage all of you to really pay attention. If you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling in lack, if you're feeling defeated, right? If you're feeling like life isn't going the way that you wanted, maybe you take a step back, kind of bigger perspective, see what you can do to expand your energy. Get out in nature, go, have a glass of wine with a friend, go work out, do an activity that builds you up. Repetition is the key to shifting anything and everything. Right? I have a really good friend, and she was saw one of her Instagram posts the other day, and she's like, I used to think that I had to be motivated to go to the gym. She goes, I hate the gym. What I realized is I had to be, she said, I thought I had to be inspired to go to the gym every day. She goes, now I realize I have to be inspired to show up for myself every day. And so wherever you're at in your life, please be inspired to show up for you. right? Because no one's going to do it for you. No magical bullet train is going to come down. You have to start to get in alignment. And the way you begin to do that is check in with your heart, check in with here. And if you notice you are retelling a story over and over and over again about things that aren't going your way, you may just want to pause and start to be curious about what you can change. So I know you got this. Wishing you the best every day. You are in charge of creating the life you want. And please take a moment to recognize that everything is happening for you to become the greatest version of you, of what you want. This isn't, oh, am I meeting my parents' standards or my kids' standards or my partner's standards? No, am I living my truth? Am I being authentic to me? And am I showing up the best way? And what is success to me? Journal about it. Be curious about it, because your version of success is not anybody else's version of success. And, pay attention, get clear, and see how you can begin to appreciate what is, focus on what is working, and then anticipate being able to believe that you can receive what you truly desire, because it is possible. So thank you for listening. As always, if this show inspired you, please feel free to share it with someone else in your world. Feel free to share it on social media. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.
Catherine is not a medical practitioner nor a licensed therapist. She has strong opinions and will express them, and truly believes that you are your best advocate for any and every area of your life. If you need medical advice, please consult your physician.